Hi, guys. Thank you for being with me here today. Um, so, I got a lot of questions about, in my last video about Charlie Kirk's death. I mentioned fourth dimensional entities in that video. And I got a lot of comments and questions from you guys about that. So, I wanted to make this live today and just kind of answer some of those questions and give you guys some clarity. This is my first live, so hopefully it goes well. If you know, when it's your first, it can always be a little weird. So go easy on me, guys. Okay. But basically, what we're going to talk about in this video or in this live today is we're going to talk about fourth dimensional beings. Okay, we're going to talk about what they are, who are the fourth dimensional beings, where do they come from, and we're going to talk about what can we do to prevent them from attaching themselves to us. Okay, so we're going to talk about that in this video, and we're also going to talk about the timelines that are splitting off right now. Okay, because there are two timelines that are currently splitting. And I've talked about this before, you guys know. And I talked about it in my video for my predictions for 2025. I talked about how there's going to be two timelines that are splitting off, and we're seeing that happen right now. Okay, and so we're gonna talk about how these fourth dimensional beings that are controlling the planet, because yes, there are fourth dimensional beings controlling the planet, and we're going to talk about that. But we're going to talk about how that ties into the two timelines that are splitting off. Okay, so all right, so let's get this started. So let's talk about the fourth dimension first. Okay, the fourth dimension is very similar to the third dimension. Okay, it's not so some people call it the astral realm. Okay, that's one of the ways it's been referred to as the astral realm. But basically, it's not that different from the third dimension. Okay, it's a space that when people pass away, um, a lot of times their souls will go into the astral realm. There can be entities that are positive as well as there can be negative entities within the fourth dimension. Okay, the fourth dimension is basically time. That's another way to explain it. It's time. Um, we in the third dimension we're experience. Okay, the fourth dimension is basically time, and um, so in the fourth dimension we have this realm in which the spiritual world and the physical world can basically meet and come together. Okay, so that's why the fourth dimension isn't that different from the spiritual world, but it's not that different from the physical world. Okay, it's kind of the in between. All right, and within the fourth dimension you can have all kinds of beings. You can have beings that are positive as well as negative, like I said, right? And some, like in some faiths, they believe that if a soul is really attached to the physical world, that the soul will be stuck in the fourth dimension. So, like, kind of in limbo is what some cultures believe. But we can access the astral realm, the fourth dimension, when we're sleeping. Right, when we're sleeping, we a lot of times we will go into the astral realm, the fourth dimension, and that's where we will meet with loved ones who have passed away. Um, we will meet with our spirit guides. Okay, you can also go into this realm, the fourth dimension or the astral realm, when you're meditating, right? And this is where a lot of people that have psychic abilities are able to tap into this realm as well. Um, but it's kind of the in between. It's kind of that middle between the spiritual and the physical, and so yeah, it's kind of complicated. But basically, just know that there are a group of individuals, because like I said, in the astral realm, in the fourth dimension, there can be both positive as well as negative entities, kind of like on planet Earth in the physical world, the third dimension, right? We can have both. We can have positive beings as well as negative beings. Well, it's the same for the fourth dimension, and there are entities that live within the fourth dimension. Okay, um, that basically it's not all of the entities within the fourth dimension, but it is a group. Some people refer to these as archons. Okay, that's one word that I've heard about that they're referred to as archons. Some people call them reptilians. Okay, there's different names for these beings. Um, the way I see it is that reptilians basically is the physical form of these beings. Okay, so these beings that live in the fourth dimension, they're the reptilian version, that some people refer to them as, are, and which is, and then this is a starseed group. Okay. And reptilians, by the way, can be positive and negative. It can go either way with this group. But the reptilian, that some people say that they are seen as, is the physical form basically of these fourth dimensional entities that live in the fourth dimension. Now, what's going on with these fourth dimensional entities is that they have a lot of control over planet Earth. Okay, now let's talk about why they have so much control over this planet. Why is it so important to them? Why do they care? Basically, what people don't realize, okay, and I'm going to take your questions too, because I see you guys. Oh, you guys are so great. Oh, I love you guys. Look at all the love I'm getting. Wonderful. And I'm definitely going to take your questions. So if you have questions about anything I'm saying, pop it in there, and we'll get to it. But basically, they use these beings that live in the fourth dimension, call them archons, reptilians, whatever. There's different names for them. They use us in the third dimension, and specifically the beings that live on planet Earth, as kind of like a battery system. Okay, so the emotions, because this is one of the planets, this is one of the most emotional planets to live on. Okay, there are many planets in the system that you don't experience the kind of emotions, the range of emotions that you do on planet Earth, right? On planet Earth, there's everything. There's shock, there's surprise, there's happiness, there's jealousy, there's hatred. There's a whole range of emotions that human beings experience that you don't see on other planets. And so they have figured this out, and they are basically using our emotions, because us as a being, as a group of individuals, we are at the point where we do not know how to regulate our own energy. So a lot of times people's energy gets wasted, right? They don't know, the energy that you are giving off to something, that you're feeding into something. People don't know how to regulate that. People don't know how to transmute that to actually benefit them. So it's lost energy. We waste energy on things that, um, things that bother us, things that make us angry, and a lot of it gets wasted, right? And it doesn't benefit us. So people don't know how to regulate their emotions, and so these entities that live in the fourth dimension, these fourth dimensional entities, they see this, because we are a young planet, and I mentioned this before in other videos. So, what was it? The world, why the world is in chaos. I talk about this. That Earth is still in her teen years. Okay, and so it's a young planet. She's still going through like puberty, basically. So, um, so she is a young planet, and the beings on her are not, we're not at that point yet where we know how to regulate our emotions, where we know how to uh, contain our own energy and not waste it, where we can transmute it to benefit us. A lot of people have no idea what's going on, right? So these entities have picked up on this, and they use these emotions, they use this energy that we have to fuel themselves. We're kind of like a battery, an energetic battery for these fourth dimensional negative entities. Okay. People aren't even aware of this, that they use us as a battery system. And so now we can't, and we'll talk about why we can't judge this too, and why we need to stay neutral in our judgment. Okay. But we need to see it as kind of like the way we use the plants and the animals on the planet to survive, right? That's where we get our energy. We eat plants, we eat, some people eat animals, but we have to find a way to get our energy, correct? So we extract it from, because we're not able to, at this point in our evolution, we're not able to get it directly from the sun, which in the future we will. In the future, humans will learn how to basically not consume any other beings and things on the planet in order to get energy. In the future, humans will learn how to extract their energy from the sun directly. But we're not at that point yet. So we have to consume the plants and the animals to get our energy, correct? So they're basically doing to us what we do, right? So that's why we can't, it's like, it's like, yeah, this is not good for us, or that's the way a lot of people would see it. But you have to put it into perspective that we're just an energy source for them, right? Because we're unaware, we're unawakened. Many people, just like I said, they have no idea what's going on, lost energy, lost emotions, it just get untransmuted, and these entities have picked up on it, and they see, oh, Jimmy over there, he's had some road rage, he just got into a bad, incident in his car, and he's having some road rage right now. This is my smoothie, this is my breakfast today. So they use that, and it's like an energy source for them, kind of the way we consume energy from the plants and the animals on our planet. That's what they're doing to us. So that's why they want to keep us in separation. They don't want us to come together. They don't want us to see beyond the illusion, see that everything is just, um, they don't want us to see that there is no such thing as separation, basically. Okay. That we basically are all one. Okay. And I've talked about this before in many videos, right? That we're separation is an illusion. Okay. And to other planets in other systems, all the star seeds. Okay, if you're a star seed, drop it in there and let me know what star seed you are. Okay, but the other star seeds, the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, all of the different groups, they look at us like we're the kindergartners on the playground, right? Because they know all of this, and they're like, they would be like, maybe like the grand, maybe in their like older, like in their golden years, we'll say they're in their golden years, and we're like the kindergartners. And because we see that in our minds everything is separate, right? We don't see everything is that we're all just one, basically, and it's all an illusion. Okay. But they see that, they know that we are all one, and that there's no such thing as separation. There's it's just an illusion. So, but to them, because this is elementary to them, see us as being kind of like, and there's no judgment there. It's just that we're not as evolved, basically, because they don't judge. They just see it as like we're youthful, we're the young kids on the block, and they've had many years to progress to be able to see this, that separation is an illusion. So these fourth dimensional beings are trying to keep the planet in separation right now. Okay, we see that more now than ever, right? We see that now more than ever before, how they feed into people's emotions, especially politically. Okay, they want to keep people on the left, they want to keep people on the right, they want to keep you hating everybody, right? Because what happens then is that we keep feeding this battery, we keep feeding them energetically. We keep, especially when it comes to the anger and the hatred, that's the biggest breakfast or biggest meal for them. That's the energy that really fuels them. And so they want to keep us divided, basically. Now, they are not actually causing. Now, here's the thing, okay? Because a lot of you guys know about these fourth dimensional beings, right? I know a lot of you guys know about them. But they are not actually the ones causing the negative events on the planet. Okay. They are attaching themselves to certain people, and they are making certain people have those feelings of hatred and separation, right? Keeping those emotions going with it, those negative, lower vibrational emotions going within certain people. They're feeding into that, and they want to keep that going with they'll find, especially somebody that's in a dark place too, that isn't doing very well, they will attach themselves to that person and keep them in that lower state of being. So it's all about emotions. They will feed into it, they will create the cycle in which that person can never get out of feeling separation or feeling more positive, right? So but they're not actually causing the negative events. All right. They're just feeding into us, dividing us basically, and keeping us in hate and division. Okay. But they're not actually causing the negative events. So it's them it's them perpetuating those emotions within us that cause those negative events. But it's also the sixth dimension too. We have to talk about the sixth dimension, six dimensional beings. Okay. Now in the sixth dimension is the dimension of the architects, is another way to describe it. And you guys might know these architects as the archangels, right? So we call them the archangels, but really the beings. So it's, yeah, to us they're the archangels, but really in the sixth dimension, what they really are is they are the architects. Okay, and the beings in the sixth dimension are the architects that created the third dimension. Yep, that's right. And so, and that's why I always say six in numerology it's a parental energy, right? And that's what we see in the sixth dimension. We see they're like parents. They basically created the third dimension, and they're the architects of the third dimension. They are the archangels. They're kind of like our parents, basically. They love us, they watch us over us, they help us, they nurture us, they want nothing but positive, good things for us, and they're watching over the planet at this time because they know that we're going through a lot of changes, and a lot of them are with you guys. I'm being shown a lot of them are your part of your team. Like some of the big archangels are with you guys. So the six dimensional beings are the architects, the archangels. They are the ones that create, they pave the way, they help us, they make some of the good things happen in our world, right? That's their energy. They're the people in the play. I always say that this life that we're in is like a play, right? They're basically the people behind the play that are putting everything on. Okay, those are the architects, those are the archangels. They're the creators of the third dimension. And now here's the rub, okay? Because a lot of people have difficulty understanding this, but archangels can go either way. They can be extremely positive and they can be extremely benevolent, but they can also be dark angels too. Okay, there are archangels who are negative archangels. It goes, and so when we look at the sixth dimension, we have the dimension of angels and demons. So some people would call them demons, like a lot of Christians would call them demons, okay? But they're really just archangels that are dark archangels. It goes either way in the sixth dimension. It's the architects are either super positive, and we have the architects that cause a lot of the problems on the planet. Because now, why is that happening? Why are the sixth dimension is the one that created us? Why would they do that, right? Why would there be one group of angels that's so dark, it wants to cause division and problems, and the other group is trying to help us and save us, right? Why is that? Now, a lot of you guys already know this, right? A lot of you guys already know this because I talk about this in my video, that a lot of my videos, that we can't have contraction, we can't have expansion without contraction. Okay, so when we think of the third dimension that they've created, it's like a play, right? And in any play, you have to have the good guys and you have to have the bad guys, right? You have to have you have to have a group of people that's causing the problems, the villains, or you don't have a play. There's no point of it even existing. So that's why we have positive archangels as well as negative archangels. Okay, the negative archangels are just doing their part. They're helping to create contraction through expansion. Okay, breaking things down, making certain negative things happen in people's life, but then something good happens because they have an awakening, right? Or they have a huge amount of growth, right? That wouldn't have happened if that dark angel didn't come in and cause that problem. Okay, so the fourth dimensional beings that I was talking about, these dark entities, the archons or reptilians that some people refer to them as, they're not the ones actually causing the problems that keep us in division and separation. They want us to stay in division and separation because then they can maintain their battery and their energy source, and still continue to feed off of us, right? They want to see that happen, so they will attach themselves to certain people, and they will, have so some people can never get out of being in a dark space and raising their vibration, right? But they're not the ones actually causing the problems. The people that are causing, or a lot of the problems that get caused, it's because of the negative dark archangels, right? The ones that are causing, the ones that are creating the plot and the the friction in the story, right? They're the ones that are creating this contraction, basically. But these fourth dimensional beings want that to happen. They want to continue, for us to continue to have that. Because the thing is, Earth is moving into a time, right? New Earth, where Earth has basically decided that doesn't want to have to grow and evolve through having the division and the complete opposites, right? In terms of like the six dimensional beings. So Earth wants to be in a space where she doesn't have to, the beings on her planet, us, the brain cells. That's what we are. We are her brain cells. She doesn't want to continue to have expansion of her brain cells through having so much contraction. She's going through this time, wants to move into a completely new energy, wants to move into new earth. And so she doesn't want that, we can still have growth, but it doesn't have to be through contraction. Why, she's at this point where she's like, I am done with having both. I am done with having the super positive archangels, as well as the dark archangels, and the entities, the fourth dimensional beings that are feeding off of that and want that to continue to happen, right? She doesn't want that to happen anymore, and she doesn't have to, right? We can still have growth, we can still have evolution, we can still have expansion without having to have contraction. We don't have to have the duality and that we would see in the sixth dimension. And because we see it in the sixth dimension, and the sixth dimension is basically a reflection, like what we see in the third dimension, it's just a reflection of what is in the sixth dimension, because those are our parents. Those are they basically created the third dimension. They're the architects. So Earth doesn't want to have that duality anymore. Now, the only thing is that these fourth dimensional beings, like I was saying, these dark entities that live in the fourth dimension, they want Earth to continue on that path, because that's how they get their energy, right? So they want to see a continuation of that, and they want to see the continuation of the duality of the sixth dimension, where we have the beautiful archangels and we have the dark archangels coming down here and causing, the continuation of both expansion and contraction, good things as well as bad things happening. They want to see that, because that is what feeds their timeline. That's what feeds them. That gives them energy. And so their purpose is to create division and separation as much as possible, so that we can stay in a lower state of being, unaware, unawakened. And yeah, so so it's complicated, but what is happening now? So we're going to talk about the two timelines that are splitting off. So as I said, Earth wants to move into a place where she doesn't have to go through that anymore. The old way of being, where it's like you have to break something down first in order to have growth, right? I mean, it's like kind of like when you go to the gym, right? When you go to the gym, you have to. Did you know that when you work out, you actually have to break muscle down first before it's built? Yeah, yeah. So what's happening is Earth has decided I don't want to have to build muscle by breaking it down first. I want to build muscle without having to go through the contraction. And so she is now on a path, what I call a new Earth, to move into that direction in which we don't have to see so much contraction in order to have evolution and expansion. And so what's happening right now is there are two timelines and there's actually multiple timelines, but there are two main timelines that are breaking off right now. And one is basically where the old way of being continues on, where it's the same old thing, right? Where basically we continue to stay in a separate state, not being able to see beyond the illusion, and we continue to be divided and hate each other, and we continue to have war and all these things. Um, that's gonna it's a continuation of the old, right? That is one timeline. The other timeline that's splitting off is a new way of being. Like I said, contraction and evolution without having to have expansion and evolution without having to have contraction, as much contraction as least, and growth through a more positive way of being, and not division and separation. Okay. So that's what's happening now, is there are two timelines that are splitting off, and I'm sure you guys are seeing this everywhere. Now the thing is the question you might be thinking is, how do I get on, like what do I have to do to get on to the more positive timeline? It's very easy. It's the most easiest thing it's so simple, and it's not complicated. It's the easiest thing ever. You have to stay in the vibration of love. Now, what that means is staying in the knowledge that separation is an illusion, okay? So, knowing that, okay, this person, I don't like that person over there. This person, this person just cut off, I'm driving and this person just cut me off, or that's my neighbor over there, and their dog is always jumping into my yard, or, it's like, you don't, you know, still having those human emotions, but still understanding at the same time that that's you. That person is you. Okay. There is no division. That, like I said, there's no separation. And your enemy is you. Your best friend is you. That president that you hate or you hated is you. Okay. Everything in this, that pencil on the table is you. It's all one. It's all an illusion. Like I said, the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, all the star groups, they're all looking down on us, and they're thinking, they still think that they're separated. What? Like, they think that we're like kids, like they think it's like I said, these are advanced beings, and like I said, there's love and there's no judgment, but they know that we're just not at that point in our evolution yet to be able to see beyond the division. So you need to stay in the vibration of knowing that separation is an illusion. And so once you know this, everything changes, because you start to have love for even the people you hate. Yeah, because you know that that's you. That's you. It's you, but you were just wearing a different hat. Okay. And I know that's really, really hard, because basically this is what we have been coded. This is the program that we have all been given in the Matrix. We have been given this program to see that everything is separate, and if it's your enemy, then yeah. So it's really hard to get beyond these this or these basically this matrix that we have been given, and what we have been taught since birth. It's extremely hard. But once you can get into that, and you don't have to be in it all the time, but as long as you're in that mode more than 50% of the time, where you can see beyond the illusion, it's like, okay, I'm having this human emotion right now. This person just did something to really, trigger me. But I'm still going to stay. I still understand that that's actually me that did that right there. We're the same person. We come from the same place, right? Everything is all one. And so if you can be in that mode more than 50% of the time, the more you can be in it, the better. But if you can be in that understanding more than 50% of the time, then you're going to be separating off onto the timeline where Earth ascends. New Earth, you're going to be on that timeline, and you will not be on the lower timeline. Okay. Now, this event that happened with Charlie Kirk's death was a big one for the splitting offs of the two timelines. Okay. And so, I mean, like, I got a lot of comments from people that, I got to see both sides. It was interesting for me to see the way people felt about the whole thing. And I got to see that there's a lot of people in there. There's a lot of people on both sides that, like for instance, there's a lot of people that didn't like Charlie. Okay. They didn't like him. They didn't agree with his views. Um, I had some viewers that didn't really like him, but they still saw the humanity within him, that this is a person that was killed in front of his kids. He was murdered in front of his children. Okay, so even if you don't agree with somebody's opinions, even if whatever they have said in the past, to be able to see the beyond the illusion of how awful that is for his children, how awful that is for his wife, for him to have to go through that experience, and that this is a human being that was murdered, to be able to see beyond the illusion and put your feelings aside, no matter what he has said to trigger you. Okay, even if he whatever, because I people are telling me all these things, but and I know it's hard, but you have to do that. You have to set your feelings aside, and you have to be able to look beyond the veil, look beyond the illusion, and know that Charlie is you and you are him. All the people you hate, all the people you love too, they are you. There's no separation. So um now, and I did get a lot of people that were saying that there were some people that were saying that, they couldn't, they were finding it really. One guy, he said, I'm finding it really hard. Maybe there's something wrong with my heart chakra, but I'm finding it really hard to have love for this person because I really felt like he was a bad person, is what he had commented to me. And what I told him was, I said, Charlie was just playing his part. Okay. All of the people on the world stage, okay, all of the famous people on the world stage, all they are is a mirror. They're just a mirror for the damage and that is within you. Okay. So, whatever it is that triggers you, that needs to be healed within you. Okay. If you get triggered by something, that means that there's something in you that needs to be healed. There's something that got broken along the way, that you stopped believing that you were God, that you were a fractal of God, which you are. You stopped believing that, and whatever it was, you let that damage you. Okay. So it's just an indication, whenever you get triggered, it's just an indication that there is something within you that needs to be healed. All right. So when people say things, whatever it is, it could be the most awful thing in the world. If it triggers you, it means that is something within you that is damaged and it needs to be healed. Why do I say this? Because think of spirit, think of the angels, think of the spiritual world. Do they get triggered? You could say anything to Archangel Michael, right? You could say anything to him. You could call him. I was mad at him once, and I said he was the con artist of the archangels, because I was mad because I felt like he wasn't protecting me at the time, because something had happened. And I guarantee you 100% that didn't trigger him. There's nothing you could say to the archangels, to the spiritual world, that's going to trigger them. Okay, so it's only humans. We get triggered, right? Because we have a lot of damage, things that have happened to us. So whatever it is, whenever you get triggered, that is something within you that needs to be healed. All right. The people like Charlie, okay, all of them, Charlie, President Trump, Obama on the other side, Nancy Pelosi, no matter what side they come from, if they're just a mirror. They're just a mirror for you to figure out what needs to be healed. So if they do something that triggers you, it's just a way for you to know, oh my gosh, this is something that I need to heal within me. This is something that is damaged. So what I told him was, I said, if Charlie triggered you, then that means he was doing his job correctly. Because that's why that's why he played his part. That was his part, was to be your greatest healer, to be your greatest teacher. The people that trigger you the most, and the people that trigger you the most, the people that rub you the wrong way the most, those are going to be your greatest teachers. Those are your greatest healers. Okay. So, because they are the ones that bring up all the damage. They're the ones that bring up all the things within us that need to be healed. And so I told him, I said, if he triggered you, if he said things that made you unhappy or whatever, then he was just playing his part. He was doing his job correctly. Because everybody here is just here for your benefit. Okay. All of these celebrities, everybody here is just here to be a teacher for you. To, you know, this is your reality. You're creating your reality, and everything is set up just for you. Everything. You are the most important actor of your play. And everything in this world that we're in is just a way to heal and teach you and help you get onto your highest level. So I always send to the people that rub me the wrong way, I always send the most love to them. I know it's hard, I'm human just like everybody else. But I try to send them the most love, the best in the most way I can, because to those people that rub me the wrong way, those are the people I'm the most grateful for, because they're the ones that are bringing up all the stuff that needs to be healed within me. So we need to get to that level. We need to get beyond this illusion. And by the way, and like I said, I got it from both sides, the left and the right. And by the way, I get attacked by both sides on my channel. So that tells you I'm doing something right when you get attacked by both sides. I get attacked by a lot of Christians that, are against numerology and against psychic mediumship, and I get attacked by them all the time. All right, so that tells you I'm not in the can for Charlie Kirk. All right, I'm not a political person. I don't take sides. I try to see that we are all one, right? We're all just here and we're all just playing our parts. Is to some people, one person is the villain, the other person is the hero. But to somebody else, that person you think is a hero is a villain, and vice versa. So yeah, so I definitely get attacked by both sides. So that tells you I'm doing something right. But what I would say to the other side, because this was a very horrific thing that happened to him, and I could feel the emotions. I could feel a lot of the people that follow me were very heartbroken about this, and what I would say to them is how do you, because to the other side, we want to see beyond that. We want to have love for him, no matter if you didn't like him or not, so that you can get onto that higher timeline, right? And see that separation is an illusion. What I would say to the other side is to have love for the person who murdered him. I know that's really hard, right? I know that's really hard to the other side, because to think that this happened to somebody in front of his children, murdered in cold blood in front of his children. I mean, I can't even imagine, right? It's so hard. It's so hard. But try to see beyond the illusion for the guy who did it, and see that, he's playing a part too. Charlie's soul, for whatever reason, wanted to leave at this time. For whatever reason, he thought this would be he'd have the greatest impact on the world. And that's what I'm being shown, that it was a turning point for for humanity for healing, massive healing, and to realize what is it within us that needs to be healed. What is damaged within us, so that we can move on into new earth, so that we can get onto a higher timeline. So I think his one of the big things why he existed was to be a turning point for humanity, to figure that out, to realize that he was a light worker. A lot of, and I'm sure that this, like I said, that's gonna trigger some people that didn't like him, and I understand that. But remember, what triggers you makes you. It needs to be healed within you. Remember that. But he was a turning point for our humanity to figure out what is it that needs to be healed within us, so that we can move on to the higher timeline, so that we can move into new earth and leave beyond the lower way of being. So I would say to the other side, the side that is grieving, the side that is in pain about what happened to him, I would say to them to do what I asked, the people that didn't like him to do. I would say, try to see beyond the illusion, try to have love for the person that did this. And I know that murdered him. I know that's really, really hard. Believe me. But to try to see that Charlie and him were playing a part. We're all just playing our parts, right? He was playing his part for you. For you, Charlie was playing the part of the good guy, and the the murderer, the assassin, was playing the part of the bad guy, and he had to do what he had to do so that Charlie could live out his contract. Because I guarantee you 100% that that was Charlie's contract to leave at this time. 100%. Okay. The universe does not make mistakes, knows exactly what it's doing. It does not make mistakes. When somebody leaves, it's because it's their time to go. It's what their soul signed up for. And I know that's hard when you really, really love somebody, but remember that the universe does not make mistakes. Charlie's soul knew exactly what he was doing. And unfortunately, the guy who killed him did too. And he was just playing his part in this awful, an awful play that they were taking part in. So I asked the other side to give love to the person that did this. And that's hard. So I'm asking both sides, the people that didn't like Charlie, see beyond the illusion, even no matter if he said things that triggered you, give love and see that he is still you. There's no separation. And then I asked the other side that is really angry at the person that did this to him. I asked them to see beyond the illusion and to see that these two were playing roles in a play and to give him love. And I know that's hard. So when we can do that, we're all going to be on the higher timeline. We are, all of us. Okay. We're moving in that direction, but that's how we do it. There are two timelines that are splitting off right now. There are. And if you want to stay on the old timeline, it's not that bad. It would just be a continuation of what is, where there's war and there's division and there's hatred, right? And that's what we're used to. So it won't be that much different than what you're used to. But you get to make that choice. That's the thing. We all get to make that choice. You can choose to be on that timeline where things remain the same and there's war and hatred, or you can choose to see beyond the illusion, to choose to see that we are not separated. The people that trigger you the most are actually your greatest teachers that are here to heal you. And you can open your heart to those people, no matter how hard it is, and you can move on to the higher timeline that we are moving into, which is New Earth, where we won't see the hatred and the division anymore. And these fourth dimensional beings will not be able to control us anymore. They're not going to be able to control us anymore. When you're on that higher timeline, they have no control over you anymore. No control. They have control because they're such a lower state of being. They have control over the people that are in all the lower emotions. All right. So like hatred, fear, anger. If you have any of those emotions, and we all do, okay? We all do, right? We're all human. But if you're living in a state where you're constantly in those ways of being, where you're constantly in hatred and everybody's triggering you and you just can't see beyond the illusion, and that's your state of being more than 50% of the time, okay? They can attach themselves onto you and you're an easy target for them, those fourth dimensional beings. So I know I've been talking a lot, but I'm going to try to answer as many questions as I can before I go. So sorry guys, this is my first live, so I know I probably should have stopped and answered some questions, but let's see what you guys have to say. I love all of you. You guys are awesome. And you're amazing. You guys are so sweet. Yeah, energy vampires. Yep, energy vampires. Let's see. Any questions? Good evening, everyone. Nice to see you too, Barbara. And okay, so I know you said anger and hatred are the biggest. What about grief? Yeah. Now, like I said, these are all normal emotions. There's nothing wrong with having human emotions. The key is pulling yourself out of it. Okay. If you are in those more negative emotions, more than 50% of the time, then you become an easy target for these lower dimensional, fourth dimensional beings to attach themselves onto you. And then what happens is they drag your energy down even more. And then these dark angels and the sixth dimensional dark angels can come in and cause all kinds of problems for you. So you just, when you find yourself in a state of those lower emotions, process it. Don't block it, because what you resist persists, right? What you do is you find ways to bring yourself out of it. Meditation, listening to music, calming music, a nice movie, solfeggio frequencies. Don't watch horror movies, don't watch horror television. That puts you in a lower frequency. When you watch it's like consuming junk food for your eyes and your ears. So don't try to avoid all of that stuff. Try to immerse yourself in higher frequency music, art, film, and then that's going to bring your vibration up. And then you won't have to, like I said, you won't have to pretend like you're not grieving. Okay, you'll actually be in a higher state of being. Okay, because like I said, what you resist, you does persist. So you don't want to just pretend like, oh, I have, like a lot of people in the spiritual community, they have a fake positivity, right? Where it's like you have to pretend like you're positive, and if you're not feeling good, then you shouldn't have to pretend, right? You should be able to process those emotions and go through the grief and the anger, but then you have to actively take action and find ways to bring yourself up. Okay, after you have processed everything. So I'm not one for fake positivity. And you guys know that too, because that's one of the reasons that I love numerology so much. I always, whenever I show you the positive of any number, I always show you the negative too, right? So that's the beauty of numerology. It always helps you to see both sides. So we're not living in like this fake positivity world. So it's perfectly fine to be human. You just need to process your emotions and then immerse yourself in higher frequency, higher vibrational things, and that's going to bring you up and help you too. And the main thing here is seeing, okay, this thing happened to me, but this is part of the plan. This person is triggering me because they're trying to teach me something. There's something damaged within me that needs to be healed. And they're just doing their job. Charlie Kirk, he's saying all these horrible things or whatever, whatever people, I don't know, because I don't know what he has said, but people were trying to tell me that. And I told them, you know what? Just look at it as like whatever he said that triggered you, he's helping you. That's something that needs to be healed within you. So when those situations happen, when those pop up, that's how you get yourself out of those lower emotions, is seeing through the illusion. Like, okay, this is actually happening to benefit me. Everything here on this planet is just something to help me. Like this is all just set up for me. This is props, everything here is just a prop, right? It's all an illusion. It's all like a setup, right? And when we think of the three, that's the third dimension, right? When we think of the three energy, what is the three energy? Drama, right? A lot of actors, a lot of creative people are threes. So yeah, it's all set up, it's all props, it's all an illusion, so that you end up having the most evolution. And you are the one creating all of it. You're creating your reality 100%. So let me see, is there any more questions here? Mental health. Do they attach vulnerable, possibly people with mental health? Yes, Chili. Yeah, they do. Yeah, a lot of times, because people with mental health problems are usually in a lower states of frequency, and so they do attach themselves to them. That's true. The system uses bots to cause negative feelings on us. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I do think that some of these, yeah, like I said, I do feel like some of the negative emotions are being caused by those dark entities, the fourth dimensional beings. So, but then we have to, like I said, even with the fourth dimensional beings, we have to see beyond the illusion. These fourth dimensional beings, you know, like I said, they're siphoning off our energy, but then they're also, we do this to others as well, right? We eat plants and stuff. And so it's, we can't judge. And then another thing too is, it is, like I said, whatever problems are causing, we have to see it is that it's happening for our benefit. And I know that's really hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. But that's Earth School, and you guys, you guys are in advanced spiritual school here, okay? Because I guarantee you that what I just told you right now, 99% of the population is not going to understand any of it, right? But You guys are gonna y'all any of you that just understood, and I'm sure most of you, because my subscribers are the most awesome people in the world, but the ones that understood this really and can hold this vibration of being in the middle and the vibration of peace and being able to see both sides, you guys are the 1%, right? And you guys are the light workers. That's what we're here to do at this time. We're here to be the bridge to help people get onto the higher timeline, right? That's what we're here for. We were made for these times. We're spiritual warriors, and we're here to bring people over from the lower timeline onto the higher timeline. That is your mission at this time. So I guarantee you, 99% of the world of people that 99% of the world would not understand anything I just said. You're in the 1%. You're special. So not in an ego way, okay? But you are chosen in that way, not egotistically, because we're all chosen, but you're chosen in that way to really help the world at this time, if you get what I'm saying, okay? You have a big responsibility. So people are irritated us, love archangels. Why did they create the third dimension? As now we have to go through all those challenges. Yeah. Because, well, why were the dimensions created? God wanted to experience himself or herself. Okay, it could be both, right? Her, him. God wanted to experience her, himself, and so the dimensions were created. Okay, and that's what the third dimension is the most, is to experience. It's like the third dimension is kind of like the lab. Think of, like, when they do like lab, like where the lab rats are, in any when they're doing like science experiments and stuff. Like, that's what the third dimension is we're like the lab rats, basically. So we're kind of like the ones experiencing everything. And so that they know how hard it is. The angels, the archangels that created the third dimension, as well as the fifth dimensional beings, which are our spirit guides, they know how hard it is for us to be in the ones actually doing the work. Okay, so that's why they're always there for you when you call on them. They're going to be the 100%. They're there for you. And I am walking into ICU unit right now. I know Michael is with me. We'll watch. Oh, well, let's send a lot of love to Chile mama, because she's going into the ICU unit right now. So let's send her all a lot of love, healing energy. We're sending it your way. Okay. Everything has a purpose. We just have to discern and understand the process. Yes. Fifth element. Yes. That's so true. And it's like I said, it's all here for you, for your benefit, even if it doesn't seem like that. It's all set up, fake props set up for you, so that you can achieve the maximal evolution and you can create your reality. Okay. Why is that? Because you're God. You're a fractal of God. And God wants to experience the third dimension through you. You are his eyes and ears in the third dimension. Okay. Thank you for clarifying more on the sixth dimension on archangels, duality, polarity. We know good. Exactly, Carmen. Divide and conquer. Any more questions? Would this mean that Earth would need to ascend beyond the sixth dimension so that we wouldn't experience duality any longer? That's what Earth is trying to do right now. Earth is trying to move beyond the world of duality that we've been in for the past, thousands, millions of years, and is trying to move into a state in which he can still evolve without so much duality that we have. So that's why we have these two timelines splitting off. And like I said, one of those timelines is going to be New Earth. Now, and like I said, it's a choice. Everybody gets to choose. Some will stay on the lower timeline. They're just not meant to be on the higher timeline, but that's their choice. And really, it's just a continuation of what is. It's not like the Earth is going to like explode and there's going to be like, fire and, horrible things. It would just kind of be a continuation of what is, which is not great, And the higher timeline will be Earth's golden age, basically. She's moving from her teens into her 20s. And that's going to be her golden period, New Earth, which I've talked about many times before. So And for all the new people, that have never like seen my channel or anything before, all the videos that I've referenced, I will link those below in the description box once this live is over. How do we know that we chose the higher timeline? Um, how do we know that we chose the higher timeline? Well, you will know because you'll feel it within your heart. You know, you won't feel as much division and separation. You'll see things getting better. You'll see things improving, improvement. No, not as much division. But main thing is you'll feel it within you the most. You'll feel a sense of peace, a sense of calm, like, wow, I'm not feeling as much anger for that, and whatever is within you, that's going to manifest out into your external world as well. So, but yeah, I mean, you will know, like I said, the people going to be that are kind of on the lower timeline. It just things won't change. It will be a continuation of what is basically. So difficulty battles, strong soldiers. Yeah, we're built for these times, guys. Where a lot of you guys are star seeds, and a lot of you guys have found my channel because of my star seed videos, and a lot of you are, Pleiadian, Arcturian, Syrian, And the truth is, we're all a little bit of all of them. We're not just one. Most of us are multiple star. Most of us have had most of them. But a lot of us concentrate with one group, but most of us have been through all of them, but we're star seeds and we came here at this time to help during this time. So we're built for this. You guys are built for this. And that's why you're here, to heed the call and to help Earth move into her golden years, new Earth. And yes, I can see these two timelines. Yeah, that's another thing that you'll know, that you'll start to be able to see the two timelines. You'll see the vast differences in the world. Your job is really to kind of be, like I said, your job is kind of to be in the middle, right? To be in the middle, to be that middleman, to help bridge the two together. That's what the light workers are here to do, to help bridge, to help and to help people on the lower timeline, to bring them onto the higher timeline. So you will know that you're moving in that direction because you will be more you'll feel that sense of like caught in the middle, like you're caught in the middle between the two, and like you can see both sides. You can see, this side is getting angry at that side, and that side, and that side feels like that, and you'll kind of feel kind of like in the middle. And then you'll know that you're doing your job, and that's where you're supposed to be as a light worker, and you're moving on to the higher timeline as a result. So no, not real. This chat is definitely not religious. I mean, we're a spiritual community, so we love all religions. We're open, everybody is welcome here, but we talk about everything that, a lot of things. Like I said, I get attacked by a lot of Christians because they're not, and I love them. I love them all, and I love, like I said, I love all the religions, but I do get attacked by some of them because they're not open to like, the numbers, numerology and stuff. So like I said, I've been attacked by both sides, but that's okay. Like I said, I feel like I'm doing my job if that's the case. So, oh my God, like your shadows, we need patience. Yeah, we need to have a lot of patience. Cavallo, yeah, that's a big one. It is the most difficult part. Yeah. Separation. So anyways, I hope that, let me see if there's any more big questions here that I can get to. No light side would be putting one group. No, that would be putting one group against the other. No higher vibrational group would even need to do that. It's not that. No, but remember, so this person says no light side race would be putting one group against the other. No higher vibration group would even need to do that. Yes, they would. Yes, they would. Because like I said, the people that trigger you the most are the ones that are here to heal you. Okay, they're the ones that are here to bring up. They're playing the bad guy in the play. The person that makes you aware. They're a mirror for you. They're a mirror so that you can see what needs to be healed within you. Those are going to be your greatest teachers. Okay. Like I said, and it's hard to see that. But once you can see and that person really is just you, or like I said, there's no separation. And once you can see that, then you know for sure you're moving on, you're moving into new earth. Because believe me, 99% of the world just cannot understand what I have just said. They cannot see it that way. And so in new earth, things will be different. In new earth, 99% of the people will be able to see it and be able to see it on, okay, that person is triggering me. That person, they're just doing their job, they're actually helping me. They're not, they think they're hurting me. They're actually helping me. So in New Earth, the people will get this, and it will be the opposite where it's just a small percentage that doesn't. So, and we have a lot of healing to do. Yeah, we have a lot of healing to do. And like I said, that's what we're here to do, and help other people along the way as well. That's what you guys are here for. You're the light workers. And so anyways, guys, thank you so much for being with me during my first live. I hope that I gave you a lot of good information, and sending you all lots of love and lots of blessings. And I'm also going to put this as a so people can rewatch it, anybody who missed it. So, and let's see. Yeah. So, and then for anybody, yeah, if you want to find out more information about me, you can always go to my website, starsalignwithkarma.com. And you can always follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And if you're new to the channel, I would love to have you subscribe and to become part of the family. And I love you guys so much. Take care, and you guys all have a great weekend. Sending you all lots of love. Thank you for being with me today. Blessings.